Hey, everybody. Welcome back to RollPlay Live. We are in a meeting with the president, so let's see how this is going to go.
What a... Okay.
So President Higgins, President Beauregard Higgins.
Not me. That's my grandson.
Yeah, let's be real clear. If you're just tuning in.
It's my grandson.
It's JP's grandson, who's a little older than him. It's complicated. Go watch the VOD. So you have the president's attention. He's leaned over, smoke curling from his cigar, as he stares into the face of his Lord and Savior Brumbo Tungus. And so he says to you, "How can President Beauregard Higgins help you, Mr. Tungus?"
Well, that is actually impossible, but what we could endeavor to do at this point in time is if you see that fugly young man sitting about 2 people to my right, it looks like he came out of a sewer pipe a little while ago. He happens to be a descendant of yours, and why it's his greatest wish to achieve a certain level of a semblance of a relationship with you, as you people would understand it.
Yeah, so when you say he's like a descendant, he's like, "Oh, I don't have any children. I don't know what she told you, but I don't have no children." And he looks over at you and he's like, "See, we are about the same age. There's no way I could be related to this man. I know all my relatives, all right, Mr. Tungus, so I don't know what you're coming." And so he just like starts getting really defensive about this.
I lean in to your ear and just say, "Get everyone else out of the room."
I say,
But
well,
then just lean back and...
be as certain as you are about this, I am certain, and that's that your judgment is not to be taken too terribly seriously. Not in a world where, well, I'll just stop myself there before I get into trouble. I'm going to take the smaller one and the other smaller one, and we're going to go enjoy ourselves a burger while we watch men dance, and you're going to rekindle a relationship with, it's not your offspring, it's you're his offspring. You're the fruit of his looms, as terrible as that is to say. It's more like a oversized pubic crab that crawled off of you and developed into a sentient life being that found its way as a leader of a planet. And as I'm sure you can imagine, a pubic crab leading a people is one of the things that gets me away from a burger as opposed to closer to it. So I'm going to go rally to the burger.
Yeah, and he just kind of stares at you, and you know that like somewhere, like his secretary is nearby, like writing down everything you say, and this will become like the apocrypha of Susan later. You know, like she's like, and then Brumbo Tungus told the president that he was a pubic crab. Blessed are the pubic crabs, for they shall inherit the earth. So he just stares, rapt, and he says,
I'd wait for a reply from you, but I think I'd more soon die of old age than get an answer out of your face. So we're going to do this now.
a big chunk of ash just falls off of his cigar onto the desk. He just stares up at you, and he nods. He's like, "As you wish, Mr. Tungus." Then he turns over to you as the three of them walk away, and he says, "And now, you handsome devil, I hear we are related. Please, explain to me."
Is there anyone else in the room?
I mean, the room is a huge airplane hangar,
But
so they're walking slowly out of earshot. Yeah.
Okay. I lean in and then wait till they're a little... I'm just sitting there staring at them. Maybe like a tear kind of drops down my face, and I quickly wipe it away. I turn around. They're a little bit further down. It's nice to see you, grandson.
And he looks at you and he says, "Now I'm just a simple galactic president, but you're going to have to explain to me how this works, because I see you sitting here and, wow, you look like a spitting image of myself. How is it I could be your grandson when you and I are of an age? I mean, I'm a bit younger than you, a little more up top, a little less down here."
That's a complicated matter, son.
Grand.
Did you happen to... Yeah, grandson. Sorry, this is all new to me. I'll get used to it. Did you ever happen to meet... who do you know from your family? I guess is how we should start this.
Well, he leans
I got
back.
to prove to you that I am who I am, but I don't know how to do that because I don't know who you know.
Yeah, he leans
Also-
back and
Also, and I grab his hand. Who in the fuck is your mom?
yeah, and he looks at you and he's like, "Unhand me, sir." And he pulls his hand back and he leans back in his chair and he says, "Well,
Does he put a cigar down?
yeah, I think he sets it down
I
in
immediately
between
just
the
take his
ample breasts of the- He's like, "Meh," in your
Yeah.
mouth, and he looks at you kind of askance and he says, "Well, you must be from out of town if you don't know the story of Beauregard Higgins. See, I'm a
Please
self-made
enlighten me.
man. I was raised in an orphanage on a tiny world far away from here. My rise to power is my own. I convinced the old president. Well, he died, but we had a private conversation on his deathbed in which he assured me that I should be the president. And when I told his aides that, of course, they made me the president. I'd show you my crown, but it's in the shop.
Does he have windows behind his desk?
No, just a wall with this huge.
Okay. As he's talking, I stand up and just go over and stare at the picture and take long drags from the scar and ash on the floor.
Yeah, sure. Burning little holes in his carpet.
Yeah, yeah.
And he says, I never knew my pappy, nor my grandpappy neither.
An orphan, huh? Well, you done quite well for yourself. It's pretty impressive.
Heck of a con.
He says to you, he says, doing well for myself is something that I'm very proud of. I don't rely on nobody. And now I'm the goddamn president. And he leans in. He's leans over his desk yeah, check it out.
I lean in right behind him, just kind of bowing to his ear. It's damn right you're the president, grandson. It's very good job. Very good job.
So he says to you, he's now there's a way for you to prove what you claim. And he reaches over and presses a button, and he says, now, as you might expect, I have to do these sorts of tests on the regular. We have people coming here claiming to be relatives of mine looking for money.
Oh,
and
I understand
a panel opens in the desk, and there's a little thumbprint screen on it. And he says, you just have but to place your thumb upon the screen, and it will examine your DNA, which the scientists have assured me is something important to this whole process. If the light goes red, we are not related. I've never seen the light turn green.
Maybe it doesn't turn green at all then, son. Maybe it goes blue.
I paid a great deal of money for these scientists, and they assure me that this device works to prove parentage.
But what I'm saying is maybe it goes blue because that's the color of a Higgins, and I put my thumb on it.
So you put your thumb on it, and you feel a little prick, and you pull your hand away, and it shows a little loading bar. It's processing. And it shows
I just stand. I stand with my back turned toward this.
We see a little graphic image of a stork carrying a question mark in a little bag, flapping its wings while the loading bar
I turn.
fills.
I'm well, that's convenient. Anyone can understand that.
And then the question mark, it blinks a couple of times, and the question mark turns into a tiny little baby President Higgins, with a little cigar in his mouth, and then confetti goes out of the desk, and he's well, shucks, I had never seen that before. And you turn around and it's flashing, and it's match, 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 and he's I guess you are a Higgins.
I look at it and go, bingo, bango, motherfucker.
and so what's great is when you say that, he's well, now I know for sure. And he holds out his hand, and on he's got this Higgins signet ring, and it literally is just a big gemstone, a big cubic zirconium, and over top it says bingo, bango, motherfucker. And he bangs it on the desk, and he's the words of my house.
I saw it when I walked in, but I didn't say anything. I turn. I'm just I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, son. I'm sorry I got tears starting to pour my eyes. I should have been there. I didn't know I was frozen in time in a spaceship by a pizza AI who. Look, it gets weird. All right. It just gets weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he gets up and he comes around and he gives you a big hug, and the John Waynes that are nearby take a step forward, and he's no, it's all right. This is the good kind of emotion. And you slap hug it out, and he takes a step back and fixes his three-piece suit. And he says, well, I'm so glad you're back, Grandpappy. We got so much catching up to do. And he looks down the way, and we cut over to the three of you standing. I mean, you can describe what your characters are doing, but there's a chorus line of these John Wayne clones doing the can for you while someone nearby plays a banjo.
Yeah, I'm just watching.
Yeah, the presidential dance.
I'm not paying attention. I'm focused on you.
Yeah. Perfect. Piani, what are you doing?
You can almost make out a sigh from all the way over there, too.
This is one of those facepalm Piani moments where it's just oh my God, why do I do this?
Yeah, it's okay. Piani's the only real Shadowrunner in the group anyway.
And drinking.
So, yeah. You've actually got the presidential aide brought everybody XXL, a venti bourbon and soda.
In a cowboy boot.
Totally plastic
tiny
cowboy boot full of cheap whiskey and cola. And yes, we pan over to them, and then back to where you are with the president, and he says, "But I think that you were brought here for a purpose."
I know I was brought here for a purpose. Now I hear you're a religious man. Is that true?
He nods. He says, "I don't know how it was in your time, but Asa has found God and Brumpo Tungus." And he does a little like T shape for Tungus.
And I correct him. I say, "Correction, grandson. I found Brumpotungus. You found God. Together, Brumpotungus is going to be God."
He says, he's like, "I'm no theologian, but among the elite, we have had these discussions. There are several sects, some which believe that Brumpotungus is God. Others believe that Brumpotungus is merely the son of God."
If I were to tell you the full story, you wouldn't believe it, but it's for another day. It's for another day, grandson. Look, we've got some issues to discuss. We got to save the universe.
I'm on a mission from God.
With God. So he looks at you and he nods seriously, like, "Well, of course you are. Like, you're a Higgins. Well, of course." And he says, "Well, Grandpappy, you just tell me how I can help."
We need some money.
He goes, "I can do you one better." And we cut to the four of you in like an underground bunker somewhere. So you're walking down this steel and concrete corridor. His cowboy boots jingling on the floor as you walk, and you walk up to a huge like vault door, and he puts his ring in the door and like opens the first vault, comes up and he like looks around and is like, "Don't nobody look now," like leans over and types in his password.
He just hits one over
Yeah,
and over.
exactly. Yeah, don't nobody look. One. The door opens. And he walks out the last one. He takes out a key and opens that door, and you walk in. And you walk into a room. It's not as big as the presidential office, but it's still quite sizable. I'd say like 2 stories tall, like about 40 or 50 feet long, and along both walls you see long, sort of thin, like metallic objects, and on each of them we see a round symbol that's like 3 triangles around a dot, and there's just like hundreds of these things. And he's like, "Grandpappy, the bank can give you money, but God gave us the thermonuclear bomb." And he like gestures, and it's just like a room full of nukes. And he's like, "Well, go ahead, pick one."
I turn to the three of you. Is this enough?
He's like, "Well, I guess if you mean by enough, it's overkill and an overabundance of wasted funds. Yes, it is that. For our particular mission, I think we're looking a little bit less blowy-uppy everythingy and a little bit more get us there safely."
While you're thinking, like, Peony's got one of her thermal flares in her hand, and she's looking up at the nukes. There's just a sort of like sadness, like, oh.
And the president looks to you when you say that, and he seems sort of surprised, and he's like, "But was it not you yourself who said in the Holy Scripture that no nukes is sad nukes?"
I believe that is something that perhaps I could have mumbled out in a drunken stupor on a Sunday afternoon.
We've built these bombs for your arrival, Brumpotungus.
And while I do appreciate that, as the ant builds a mound for a man, I would say in this case, what I'm looking for is the delivery device of me as the nuclear weapon into the heart of the war mind itself. And while I would like to ride a nuclear missile at some point in time, I believe that to be the final act of my life.
And when you say that, he looks up, and I think at the back of the room there's a picture, like a very sort of religious-looking, like Renaissance painting of you riding a nuclear bomb, waving a cowboy hat over your head.
I think as I'm saying, I'm doing like the very mundane look at the ground, but I kind of look up and see that, and I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah. At this point, Lenore raises her hand and goes like, "Actually, it is spoken against many scholars that perhaps the nuclear bomb is a metaphor for the delivery device of the Tungus to the eventual devil-like entity we now call as the war mind. So, interpretive understanding of the scriptures, from what I have been able to ascertain through my reading and belief systems, it either could be functional. The choice is yours, Tungus."
So when you said that, the president leans over to Higgins, he's like, "I didn't understand a goddamn thing she just said."
I don't like it either. All the funny accents. You think
Yeah,
they were
where's she
just talking
from?
normal.
Europe?
Something like that. I don't know.
He shrugs.
I don't understand.
He shrugs and he gives you this beatific smile, like, yes, of course, whatever you just said.
I lean in and go, but it did almost take my dick out in front of her, so we got something going there.
Right, and he nods like, all right, I'll, you got dibs. But you make a good point, right? That within the scripture there is certainly the allowance for interpretation of these things, and the president is happy to help in whatever way he's able to. But unfortunately, it's Asa, and they have more nukes than they have money.
Right. And I turned President Higgins. As odd as that is to say, you've done pretty well for yourself, but can we sell off a couple of these, make some money? Right now, we just need a couple things to get us to a point. And a lot of that's going to take money.
I believe our journey takes us to a sector of people that could make use with a nuclear weapon or two.
Now, that is true, Brumpo.
You'll find literally everything I say is true.
You do speak the truth.
I feel like this could go on forever if I allowed it. We'll take a few nukes off your hand, and any supplies you could give us would be most welcome.
Yeah. So I think he nods and he says, whatever I can do to help the war effort.
Could I safely say then that I find a way for them to give me 3 health?
Well, we traveled 12
You traveled,
days,
yeah. You're
so
fine. You're good.
full.
You're good.
What do they do about system strain now?
You're full.
System
right?
strain, you should be fine.
It's
You've
gone.
been
Oh, it
in
resets?
you've been in transit
Yeah.
for 2 weeks. Your permanent
Alright.
stuff stays, but your strain goes away otherwise.
They're not tech level 5 or anything, right? So
No, there's only one place in the sector that's tech level 5.
Far
Yeah,
from
sure.
tech level 5, I
Grabbed
think.
it.
They're tech level like 3.1. They're capable
Right.
of leaving their planet, but not by much. Yeah, so
I guess before we go though, I'd ask Pi if she has any ideas of things we should grab off them.
yeah, I think so. You're looking at these bombs and stuff, and as you're taking kind of account, and the rest of the party is talking, Pi says, it might not hurt to have 1 or 2 of these on board, just in case.
I thought as much. President Higgins will take 4.
He looks a little disappointed that you don't want more, but he's like,
I lean and say, make it 8. I'll go and sell 4. It's all good. You owe Grandpappy a little bit, okay?
When the people talk about my return, I want them to know I had the option to take more nuclear weapons, but I decided that only a few would be necessary to accomplish my goal.
okay.
As a man of the people, he does want more for the people.
The more
He does
nukes
for
for the
himself.
people, the better.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And our Lord did come to Asa
What kind
and
of leader
was
would I be if I
generous.
took all the nukes?
Exactly. You don't want to write the Bible in which the Lord comes to earth and takes all your nukes away to heaven.
right.
Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
got to leave some for us.
Yeah.
Leave them behind.
Okay.
The socialist message of Tungus.
Exactly. Share the nukes among the people.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
In every home, a nuke. So, yeah, okay. So the president is willing to give you these 8 nuclear bombs that you want.
Look, we'll Brumpo will pose for a photo too, if that helps you here on Asa. I know. Well, I guess you don't run elections here. I guess you're president, and that's all there is to it, huh?
Yep. He definitely, there's definitely some like press corps photos, and like, he'll go down as the president that met with Brumpo Tungus on his return to Asa.
I think as we're walking away, I kind of pull him aside and say, now look, if we make it back, my one request outside of the 8 nuclear weapons that we did take off of your hands and the immense hospitality, I want you to nominate Captain Higgins as the next president, because I feel while his time on this galaxy is far too expansive as it has been, I do imagine cardiac arrest is only just around the corner. If he could spend those last few moments at the head of a legion of dumbasses, this would be the climax, if you will, of a life that has suffered from a conceptual lack of climaxes. This would be perhaps the only climax this man has ever had. It was 10 minutes into meeting you that he said he took his dick out in front of a woman. I need you to imagine the magnitude of what that is. He just met his grandson from time traveling, and he told him he took his dick out to failure. Make this man president.
I look at Brumpo, with tears streaming down my eyes. I go, this is the nicest thing anyone has ever done for me. Brumpotungus.
Please, won't someone make this impotent dumbass the president?
Thank you so much for your kind words. I cannot express my gratitude.
All right, so you I guess you'll take your nukes and head out. And so so you prepare to leave Asa behind. What's the plan with these nuclear weapons that you now have?
I don't know.
They load them into the Swan Song.
You were saying this is militarized, or we like meet Fotenhauer or something, sell a few to arm ourselves to then make it into the.
Yeah, is that the
Hostile
plan you want to
territory.
like find? So I guess the question is like,
But Pi recommends we have a couple as a failsafe.
in the market. Well, like having a nuke if you're flying into bad territory is like having one bullet left in the chamber in a zombie apocalypse, right? Where you can save it in case you really need it.
Yeah.
So you'd have to find someone that would like buy nuclear weapons from Asa. That Asa wouldn't immediately like come back on Asa. Like you wouldn't want to sell them to like
no,
the
we're
Madari
selling them is what I
syndicate.
imagine.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like the president is going to be like, here, take these and go sell them to our enemies.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, so you would have to propose someone to
I
sell
mean, I'll
these
sit in
to.
on a couple of.
Who's this?
So in that sector, there's
Do they have like delegates or something? That come
there's
from the sectors?
Majid. Yeah, I mean you could set up while you're in Asa, you could set up like a kind of buyer's like market thing where you're like, we got
Yeah.
some nukes you want to sell? Come on by,
Yeah.
check them out. We'll have a talk.
Brumpotungus signed nukes.
Right, holy weapons.
Yeah, holy weapons.
Yeah,
For the
yeah,
war.
yeah. So yeah, I think then if you do that, the people that would show up to buy it would be like,
Or exchange for tech level 5 is what we're saying.
yeah, the only people that have TL5 equipment are the Purity Initiative.
Fucking French.
Well, Cabral, they don't have tech level 5 stuff, but they have their own nukes, right? Like them and Hoveda, like they're capable of making their own. They're big governments. So like the Madari Syndicate probably sends someone.
Did I ever get a message back from?
You messaged a dead woman, so
Yeah. It's
like-
I'm gonna keep asking though, Adam.
Yeah,
so,
you know.
Just turn
It's
to
not,
collateral
it's not
duty.
that good of a messaging service.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
exactly. Yeah,
That's true.
friend
after
at thegrave.org.
1,300 years, they get a little bit better
Yeah,
at
the,
it. but-
the ghost of campaigns past. So yeah, like the Majidi government / like Madari Syndicate would definitely send someone. The Purity Initiative loves nuclear weapons, so they would be like, yeah, we would love some more nukes. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So you could tell them to them. I think. Yeah, probably like the High Beam Fleet already works for ASA. They're like tightly integrated already.
Okay.
So not a ton of like independent operators that could afford to buy these nukes from
And
you.
we were going to sell them to get money for what exactly?
Not even
Just-
necessarily weapons, just weapons and gear.
Oh,
and-
you okay?
Maybe a
okay,
body
not
for
just to
necessarily.
gear
Got
up,
it,
prepare
got it,
for a
got
showdown.
It, got it.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say like I don't know.
I guess when I'm considering everything with President Higgins next to me,
Mm-hmm.
I just lean in and say, we need to get some weapons, and we need to sell these nukes to get some weapons, but I haven't been around for that long, so who do we sell to? Who has the best weapons here in the...
Well, yeah, and he kind of puts his hands up and he's like, "Well, I don't understand your logic. You're saying you want to sell a fish sandwich to buy a hamburger. You've already got a fish sandwich, my friend." And he like gestures to the nukes. And he's
Oh,
like,
I
"What better
understand.
weapon could you imagine than God's own fury?
Well, shit, you got a point there.
They're real easy to use too. You just put them in the tube and aim them at whatever you want to destroy completely."
We are looking at a more ground-level effort at the moment, though. We don't want to just nuke
Yes,
it.
you can level the ground with these weapons.
Ah, shit. You're an idiot. I said that out loud. I'm sorry, grandson. I'm getting senile in my old age. I'm 200 years old. I just look at him.
Yeah.
Look back.
He's just staring at you.
Well,
We need armor. We need better guns. And if we could get a few implants or two, because it's not so much that we need to blow up a place, we need to enter said place and inject an artificial intelligence.
And he looks at you. He's like, I didn't understand any of that.
It is the secret sauce to a Big Mac.
Oh, of course. And he's like, yeah, I understand. 2 all beef patties and what have you.
Yeah.
And he says, he says, well, let me see what I can do. And I think that like somebody can make a business roll. We can see how this
You
this
know
goes.
how this goes.
Yeah.
Business roll.
I'll help.
Please do.
And we'll see.
My business is -1. You 6 do not get help. So you're just
Okay.
rolling a flat 2d6?
Yep.
Nope.
I fail.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 and a 3 there. Oh, we're good.
So, I mean, it depends on how long you want to like hang out and like do this, because, again, really the only people to sell them to are what ASA considers to be like terrorist organizations, right? Like the Purity Initiative and the Madari Syndicate are both kind of on the blacklist, and they're like, yeah, no, we would love to buy those nukes from you.
What if we ask to contact the Pfotenhauer?
Yeah, I mean, you could try and reach out. They're kind of like an apocryphal organization now. People know that they're out there, but
I mean, they were friends of ours when we were around, so I think we wouldn't have any.
I'd even like pose that to you to reach out to Sakarian or something.
I
Yeah.
have a question. In my research about the resistance against the war mind and what tactical weapons have shown the most effectiveness in that resistance, what type of weapons fall into that category? Would I know that?
Yeah, I mean, applying, and then this has been some of the sort of black research of Richardson Scientific, right? In that, like, technically, only Maltech has been successful in any way.
Right.
You know, nanites are hard to come by, hard to engineer, but they've had some field test success, right? Counter nanites, but they're also incredibly dangerous. You know, there's theories that Psytech would be useful, but there's just so few psychics available to test that stuff. Yeah, and it's mostly just like the kind of a gray research that's proven to be at all useful.
So then possible discussions might fall into the category of finding Psytech that may be of use to you.
Mm-hmm.
And as a Maltech specialist, what places can we look towards that might carry, albeit illegally, Maltech that we could possibly get at our disposal?
Probably the Syndicate, the Madari Syndicate,
Okay.
because they don't give a shit about whether something's illegal or not.
We
Yeah.
can just get off the planet with the nukes, hop over to a place where we can meet the Madari, and contact the Pfotenhauer Society.
Yeah. To be perfectly
Let's do
honest, you know, putting weapons in the hands of a not very reputable civilization is dangerous, but far less dangerous than the possibility of failure in the face of the war mind. So I think it's a worthy trade.
Yeah, lesser of two evils.
Thanks, Boromir. So, okay, all right. So you wanna, where do you wanna go? Because the sort of new, it used
Where's
to
the
be.
Madari?
Vinaya is their sort of traditional homeworld. It's in Gyaxi, which is 706, but things have
Somewhere here?
shifted. They have a lot invested in Majid and in that system. So that's in Vafai. That's in 304.
Right there?
Yeah, a little closer to the frontier.
Okay.
Should we go for Vafai?
Yeah, because we believe the Harridan's Heart is somewhere here, right?
Yeah, it's in the Laodicea system, which is one of
that's
Right there?
directly in
Yeah,
Zapath.
right
All
on the
right.
way.
So we'll go here, stop off, and then go to
Mhm.
Laodicea?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah, just pop into the 7-Eleven.
Yeah,
on the
3
way
hours
to
to
the
do it,
movie.
gentlemen.
Basically.
Yeah, totally. Okay. All right. So you bid farewell to your grandson, the president of space.
Yeah, I inform him that he might not see me again. Don't speak of this to anyone. Brumpotungus is a real person.
Yeah, as is evidenced by his being here.
Right. And if he has any information about his mother, please let me know.
Yeah, he tells you, once you've stopped the war mind, protected the galaxy, then you and I can investigate our shared heritage. But until then, good luck and Godspeed.
Well, thank you, President Higgins. I'll never get tired of saying that. I'll come back and teach you about my father. Maybe teach you some of the Higgins secrets.
Okay, so I think as you're leaving the presidential palace, by way of so Alferis, you can hear this too, but by way of Alferis's comms, you Piani, you hear Pi ask you. Pi says, "Piani,
Yeah.
are you sure you want to save the universe? I mean, look at all of this." And you're like walking by, and there's like a fountain of beer just like spraying to the side of you, and like all of this palatial gloriousness. And Pai's just like, "Really? Are you sure?"
I've seen crazier shit. I mean, I was a crewmate on the Swan Song for, well, 120 some years apparently. This all had significance before any of this. So yes, more than ever, I think this is the right thing to do.
I think at best we don't evaluate the universe by ASA.
Right. Don't hold them in such high standards. Yeah. Pi says, well, if you say so.
I think I actually say, Pi, before I slept, I spent so much time telling you what to do, and I don't think I ever stopped to listen to what you thought we should do. Now is that time.
Well, I'd rather that all human life wasn't wiped out. I like some of you.
I'm like,
Cuts to a shot of
there's
Higgins, like,
there's
drinking
my
from
little
the beer.
murder kid. I was like, well, I'd like that too.
All right. So you're headed for your homeworld, actually, for Majid.
Yeah.
So I think before you leave, as you're like getting ready in the ship, Higgins, you get back to the bridge and get settled in to do your jump, like to leave Asa.
Right.
You get a message. It's on the encoded channel.
Okay. I open up and say, Rajani? Is that you?
So you kick it open, and it's static at first, like a sort of squeal of interference and static, and you hear you can hear a voice through the static, but it's very distorted. The message is broken up, and then it ends abruptly.
Pi, what? Fix this message. I open up. Piani, can you come computer this message, please? I need you to computer it. Make it work. It's all jumbled. In comms. Does Pi respond?
Yeah, Pi says, it looks like it's a problem with the encryption. The message is damaged. I don't know if I can fix it. But it came in on a luminary channel. So someone heard your message.
Well, I told him to meet me here at ASA, so we're leaving, so that's not going to work anymore. We need to talk to these people. They'll know what to do.
Should I let them know where we're going?
Yeah. I guess, but yeah, go ahead and do it. I'm going to get Piani to work on this, I guess. If she fixes it, by the way, that solidifies the fact that Piani's smarter than you. I want you to know that, Pi.
Intelligence is relative, Captain.
All intelligence, you motherfucker. Don't make this a goddamn philosophical conversation. Not the time nor place.
So, Piani, you walk up onto the bridge where Higgins is seemingly arguing with the empty air.
Piani, did you get my message?
I did. What do you want?
I need you to figure out this encoding. Something's messed up with it. It's very important.
So I guess I just I'll take care of it in my room.
Okay, I guess. There's computer. I'm not going to ask questions. Go ahead. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm getting your money back, by the way. I'm working on it.
All right.
No
All right.
interest, because I'm not paying interest on 127 years.
So I'll go back and tinker with it.
Sure, yeah. Pi plays the message for you. It sounds like a corrupted audio file. Yeah, Pi tells you that it came in on an encrypted channel, and it looks like the encryption might have damaged the message. But you
Okay.
can certainly try to reconstruct it.
Yeah, I'll try to reconstruct it.
Let's make that computer roll.
All right.
Nice. 8.
That would be 10.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So you it takes you a few hours, or you're like in space before you finish, and you're reconstructing and deconstructing the message, tweaking this wave file, cutting out all the. You're doing the enhance thing.
Enhance.
And Pi is helping, and you hear through the static, like slowly, each iteration gets clearer and clearer until you can hear a slightly Aeson accented voice that says, "I didn't think anybody was." And then you miss a piece, and he's like, "This channel. I hear you, Higgins. I'm coming for you, motherfucker." And then it stops.
Wait, I was not there when he was mentioning the person waiting on Asa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was or I wasn't? I
No,
was
no, you
not.
weren't there. Yeah, you walked in after that.
Okay. I'm going to go back to the bridge.
Okay.
Come back and I'm just staring out the ship or something.
Yeah. I'm like, Higgins.
Hey, Piana, you get that message figured out?
Yeah, what are you expecting someone?
Yeah. It's an important message. I'll just say that. You know, everyone's got their secrets.
Yeah. I think you should listen to this. And I
Okay.
just like play it back.
Okay. Yeah.
On
So
my
you
compad.
you hear the same thing.
Maybe things have changed in the last 117, 16, whatever years, but I'm coming to get you, motherfucker, doesn't sound like a great thing.
Well, you'd think that, but there's a lot of possibilities to who that may be. I don't have a single fucking clue as to one of them.
Yeah. The voice sounds familiar. Like you can't quite place it. They're definitely Aeson, but you're like, you've heard it before, but you can't put your finger on it.
Well, I guess we'll figure it out when I meet him because he's on the way. Hopefully he's an ally. Doesn't sound like it.
That's how I usually talk to my
Sound
friends.
like
Like, yeah, you want to go to the movies? I'm coming to get you, motherfucker. Yeah. Pick up your car, you drive to the movies.
I'll figure it out when he gets here. Thanks, Piani. Good work.
Of course.
If I die, it's your fault.
Of course, disclaimer responsibility.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Let's have you make some. Let's have you make some nav rolls.
So still at a +3 because the -2.
Yes. Yeah.
9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you get better than 7, you're okay.
Sorry,
How many
yes.
hexes do we need to go here? You're in
2,
Bakhtiar.
So we're
Oh,
about to
no.
2. Yeah.
1, 2,
Oh,
3, 4 to get
4.
there.
Yeah. So 2 jumps because you
Yeah.
can do 2 per.
Cool.
snap.
It's like a 11 or 12.
Yeah. So, say what you will about Captain Wilbur Higgins. He knows how to navigate from one place to another. Now he's learned his lesson.
Yeah, I've learned my lesson now.
Yeah. So even with the old star charts, you figure. I mean, the planet's probably in more or less the same place, and managed to find your way there. I think in the interim, in the time that you're traveling through drive space, I think that you have dreams. You have like unusually like clear, like vivid dreams, but they're not of the man in black that you saw in the alley. They're not even the kind of like dreams where they just don't make sense. You dream about something that feels like super real. Like when you wake up, you can remember the way it smelled and the way that like the air felt. But they're filled with strange figures. So you wake up one night from a dream of some kind of like command center or bridge of a ship. And it's built out of these sort of strange organic-looking shapes, and there are figures huddled around a map of a planet, and you can see that they're tracking units. There's some kind of war, and these figures, I think I've described them before as being like a little like the Skeksis from like Dark Crystal.
Okay.
So they're like hunched, sort of bird-like, but they have these strange like serrated teeth that kind of move around in their like snout beaks as they speak.
Good.
And they speak to each other in this kind of like this grinding, like cracking language as they sort of look over this globe and survey it. And you remember being in this room. You remember the strange kind of electricity in the air, and you awaken from the dream when one of them turns its attention on you, and you know that it can like see you, even though you don't feel like you're actually there, and then you snap awake in Wu's cabin. And I think that the little green light on the camera near your bed like turns on, and Pi says, "Are you all right, Lenore?"
I'm all right. Pi, do you have any records or memory of a species? And I begin to describe the creatures and the space, the structure of the bridge, the sound of the language. I get in as much detail as I can about what I witnessed in the dream, and then convey that to Pi. Is there anything that mirrors this?
Pi processes for a moment and says, Piani used to have dreams about them. We had someone on board once. Well, listen. And there's like a click, and you hear an audio log. And it's halfway through a log. The Pi is sort of started midway through, and it's a man's voice. He's speaking in an even tone about like he sounds like he's talking about like a language study, like it's like a linguist's log where he's translating something. And so he's like, you can see here that this symbol means this sound, which I think, according to this this translation, he's using a lot of like kind of academic terminology for this, but he's dissecting a language, and he keeps referring to the Shindel, and the language he's referring to is Shindelian, and he says something about how like their language forms the basis of ruins that are found, like markings and ruins that are found on Andoni. And the thing kind of tapers off. He starts complaining about Higgs, and so it becomes irrelevant, so Pi turns it off and says, we had a member of our crew. His name was Victor. He studied their language. At the time, I think we all thought that it was just a strange quirk, something that the doctor knew. I'm beginning to see that everything is connected. I think that's why you're dreaming about them.
It unsettles me that the closer we get to our goal, the stronger these images become. And I only hope that it is not a harbinger to me not being myself. And I look down and pull up my meta tool and kind of just scan through and look through my reserves. Approximately how many more custom nanidoses do I have still?
Probably enough for like 6 more like attacks, like acute attacks. If you could weather through, you can hold the supply. But
Yeah.
running not low yet, but you'll get there, especially if they're getting to be more intense.
Yeah, I instinctually, like, kind of going through that over my head and kind of thinking whether or not that's enough. I close my eyes and shake my head, wipe this up from my brow, and grab one and just go ahead and take another injection, thinking that maybe that'll help stave off the visions and
Yeah, let you get some sleep.
yeah.
Yeah, I think when you turn off your light and lie back down, Pi says to you, would you like some help falling asleep?
There's a long pause.
Put your head in the door frame.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just suck all the air out of the room.
Yeah. I lie there and don't respond for a good solid 2 minutes in the darkness as I lie and kind of set my head on the pillow and stare into the darkness, eyes wide open with no semblance of sleep coming, and I just go, actually, I would.
So quietly at first, and never raising above kind of a whisper in volume, there is music that begins to play in your room over the speakers. It's like mostly like quiet, like harpsichords. It's sort of like a baroque, like lullaby. And Pi says to you, an old friend used to play this for me. I hope it helps. and then I think we like fade out on that music playing in the dark. So when you arrive in Vafai, I think that it's clear that this sector has seen better days. There's like debris around the planet from defending it from an assault. Right, you can see chunks of like the Warmind's ships.
Yeah, this is like right on the.
This is on the front line. Yeah, there's only one hex of space. Then you're on the friendly end of no man's land, basically.
Right.
So this is the front trench line of human civilization. And so there are, these sort of jagged biomechanical ships that are broken up in space from previous skirmishes with the Warmind. There are husks of like human battle cruisers and stuff that have like massive damage to them. And there are much higher like patrols of ships in this region. So immediately upon entering the system, you're like scanned and escorted basically. So like I think that two kind of long range fighters come out and meet you as you enter the system.
Right.
First in Pashto, then in Arabic, then in English. The customs, I guess it'd be Mandarin and then English. The customs office of the planet of Majid gets in contact with you on the bridge, and they're looking for like your clearance. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you coming to this planet?
I punch in comms. Yes, and then unrelease it. This is push again. This is unrelease it. And we're we just got in the guy. We're getting asked.
So the customs officer on the other end is like, your communications are breaking up. I can't understand anything you're saying. And your ship code is 100 years old. This is either a terrible forgery or you need a computer repair.
Yes, I do think we need a. Can you help? And then stop.
So they're like,
And when I'm not holding down, I'm just like, pal, you got to fix this. Something quick. I don't know what to do. Change the records.
I actually like. I could probably go out and talk to them, right? Being from Majid.
Yeah, maybe.
Even
I mean,
though
you have old citizenship, but it's still
150
citizenship.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could chalk it up. Yes, I look exactly like my.
So I think they
grandmother.
come on over the comms. They come over the comms and they say, someone is like, fine, we'll do this manually. Stay where you are. Prepare to be boarded. And then the ship gives off a like lock alarm. Pi is like, we can't move. They're on their way.
Well, that makes sense.
Let's meet him outside. Always try to keep him off the ship. Let's just go down the ramp and try to meet him outside.
You're gonna go out into space with these people?
Yeah, you're not on the planet yet. You're on
we're
your
not
way
landed
in.
yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they wanna like
Christ.
put up the docking clamps and have a customs officer come onto the ship.
He just walked.
I'll meet you.
No.
An unceremonious
Higgs
end.
was gonna go first, you fucking jackass.
We almost had him too.
It was so close.
Almost got you, sucker.
The moment I heard like we've been
Can't
locked
believe
into
that
place,
worked.
I'm like, oh great, we're just get out of the ship. It's fine.
Yeah, they didn't put the boot on you. There's
yeah.
a tractor beam.
No.
These custom ships have got you
We
in
will
place.
just imagine that we are standing on the wonderful planet of Majid.
We'll just have to let them on board. There's not much we can do about that. We'll keep them in cargo hold.
I'm not too familiar with Majid. Would they have an issue with the volume of nukes that we are currently bringing into the system?
Yeah, you're
I'm
like
just
walking in the
pointing
cargo
this
hold and
out.
it's just bombs.
Yeah, I just think perhaps this should be something we should think about.
Cargo hold probably a bad idea.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good point. I didn't really think that through. We can just bring them on to the crew quarters somewhere, I guess. I don't know.
Suddenly, my idea's really fucking good, isn't it?
We got to make sure they don't go down and want to check the cargo, but they're going to want to check the cargo. Well, I'll figure it out when we get there. I wait for them to board.
Okay. All right.
Which, as a note, too, for the entirety of the journey to Majid, and since we've arrived, I have not spoken a single word to Alfarius, and I've kept an awkward, kind of reverent distance. You guys are fine, but Things will never be the same.
He notices
Understood.
and like lingerly stares for a little while. Decides he doesn't understand. Just keeps moving on.
Yeah.
Is Majid, as far as we know it, still running its mining operations, or because of the war?
So Majid,
is that
I think Majid has been pretty much mined out. They've taken all the material out of the planet because it's not a big planet to begin with. It's been mined out and turned into a manufactory planet for blue fever. Pretty much, they took all the mining facilities, all the caves and shit, and we're
We
we're
should
just
just-
going to use it to make drugs because they already have this slave army,
We
and they
should-
took over the government. So
we should just claim they're for planetary defense?
I mean, we can also just claim that we're
these
going
nukes are for self-defense. They're self-defense nukes.
No, for
In
Majid.
case the king of England comes to my
It's
house.
just another
Yeah,
god.
I mean, the other alternative is that you either let us through or we're just going to launch a nuke at Majid.
Or we just get 2 more crew members,
Yeah.
hey guys, you're stuck with us now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll figure it out when they get on board.
Yeah. So how are you letting me in?
And Higgins bullshit, I trust.
The ship has a side, your ship has the side airlocks, and then you have the cargo hold. But the cargo hold you have to
Yeah, we do
depressurize
side
and open.
side
Yeah,
airlocks.
they lock onto one.
And
of
we
the
make
side
sure that
airlocks.
Alfarius is standing on the doorway to the cargo hold so they go the opposite direction.
Okay.
Right this way, and he points the opposite direction.
Here's a curious question. Would Majid, being so close to the front lines of this, have need or have any interest in possibly purchasing these weapons for their own self-defense?
Yeah, maybe, but they might not use it on the war mine. They might be like, "Cool, we got some nukes. Let's go and threaten another human civilization."
Right.
from
Ah.
maybe their
That'd be fine.
That's fine.
And I guess
That's what I meant. But
yeah. And I guess second question would be, what is the relationship between Richardson Scientific and Majid?
It's probably more or less neutral. They're not enemies.
Right.
If Richardson can make better drugs or advances in weapon technology, basically any of the bad shit that they want to sell, then the relationship is good.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
Yeah. Science is good so long as it makes them money.
Right. I just want to make sure there wasn't a known struggle or
Nope.
hatred between them.
No,
Perfect.
No. Yeah, no. Majid underwent a major governmental change relatively recently when the Madari Syndicate officially took over.
Mhm.
They had been undermining, pun not intended, the entire civilization for a long time, for 100 years.
Yeah.
But of late, they've just been like, cool, we actually own this planet now. We're the real government. So it's owned by one of the clans
Cool.
of the Syndicate. So yeah, there's the tone of someone at the door, and who's there to meet them? Alfarius and Higgs.
Yeah, I think just Alfarius. I'm getting ready for business war.
Okay, you want the
I'll-
cyborg to be the first person they see?
I'll be there with them.
Well,
yeah.
I'll actually come as well.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, so you open the door. There are two. There's two women that are waiting for you. They're wearing customs official outfits, and it's a strange mix. For you, part of it is familiar, right? They partly wear the garb of the Mandarinate, but it's been modified and looks. It looks like it's got some of the syndicate influence, and they have the crest of the government of Majid on their shoulder, but they also on the other side have a clan syndicate clan crest.
I'm gonna actually greet them in Mandarin
Mm-hmm.
and just see if I get a response.
Okay. Yeah. One of them is Chinese. The other is Bedouin or probably Bedouin. But yeah, so the one woman, the Chinese woman, what do you say in Mandarin?
I just say welcome to the Swan Song.
She looks around and she says, politely, she's like, "Yes, thank you. What is your purpose on Majid?"
I actually step forward at this point and say, my apologies for the lack of introduction. I am Adept Lenore Zimmerman of Richardson Scientific. We are on a relatively sensitive mission to the front lines of the conflict with the War Mind, containing weaponry both to deliver to the front lines and to deliver experimental advantages in the struggle against the enemy.
So you say that to her in what language?
That would
English, I
be
presume?
it'd be English.
Okay, so you say that to her in English, and she translates into Pashto to her companion, and then says to you, well, give us the tour.
I am Alfarius.
And she kind of like looks over at you, sees that you're all like cybernetic, and just kind of nods like curtly, like I'm sure you are.
All right. Come this way.
Okay.
And start to give him the
He
tour.
takes up the caboose.
Where were you again?
Like the crew quarters area.
Okay. Well, we'll give him the
You
5-cent
show
tour, the
them-
nickel
show them around
tour, yeah.
the ship. Okay.
Yeah.
So is there anything you're gonna like try to hide from them, or?
Cargo area.
Already said
And that's it. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
I figure we'll take him
Oh, I guess
around.
she already said, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I figured at this point there's no way we can hide it, and we had nowhere to put it. Best to be up front, to be honest, and try and give as direct a reasoning, because we have nothing against them. It's just passing through as a stop on the way. So as we're walking and we're giving the tour, I make mention that upon our stops here, we are in the process of carrying a nuclear payload to the front line.
You say it so beautifully.
It's
It's a
yeah,
nuclear payload.
very matter of fact,
Yeah.
underplaying it as just a delivery,
Sure.
and request to show them into the cargo hold.
Well, let's get a bureaucracy check. See how all this goes.
All right. Well, I have a -1 on that.
I'll let you roll, but if somebody else wants, like if you're,
I
it
have
sounds
a-
like you're helping.
I have a 0
We're
on it, so.
helping. We're helping.
I don't know that you're helping,
Bro,
but
come on.
you're definitely.
I'll give it a shot to help,
Yeah.
yeah.
Help me out,
Sure.
please.
Hating
I'm at
help
a
me.
-1, though, so yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not a
gonna
help.
do
All right,
anything.
so you're not. They're like,
I-
okay,
they're-
cool. We
Oh,
speak the
yeah,
same
she spoke
language.
Mandarin neat.
Yeah.
Oh, and 8.
So- 8.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it takes a little while as they go over the ship and like look through your manifest. They bring up like, this is an old ship. Like, why are you still flying this? And every little suspicious thing, they're kind of like, well, why? Where are you coming from? What have you been doing there? Why are you trying to fly through our space?
I'm like, well,
Don't you know there's a war going on?
we've actually, and with my research on nano and maltech utilized by the war mind, we found that for quick-moving ships, their newer advances in technology actually have a more stilted effect against older ships. So this is, as intended, a swift mission, increases our chances of success.
Yeah. So I think your scientific jargon kind of like goes over their head, but they don't want to seem like they don't understand, and they're like, "Oh, yes, that makes sense."
Right.
Like, sure. And they look, and then they like count the nukes, and they're like, "Well, unfortunately, you're 2 nuclear weapons over the allowed limit."
We could
So-
drop off 2 of them if you like. And he like says that with a smile.
Such a good threat. Look, we could just drop 2 of these in. Awesome.
I'm just kidding. My planet, my family, and I was destroyed in a nuclear holocaust.
And she looks at you and she says, "Holy shit! I'm sorry to hear that."
I was too.
Now
I literally heard it.
you can apply for permits. These things take time. You'll be stuck in this space for a while, but
Do you think the war mind is applying for permits to...
No, she's about to ask for a bribe.
Yeah, I put the hand up.
and she looks at her friend, and they have a short
like
conversation
the
in
red
Pashto, and she says, "But we could be persuaded to look the other way if you were simply moving on."
We could give you one of the nukes.
And she's like the girl that doesn't understand you. She says something to her. She responds like shortly, and the girl looks at her like, "What?" And she's like, kind of gives her like a play it cool. And she's like, "Yes, that would be acceptable. You can load it onto our ship." And and so if you give her one of these nuclear bombs, she'll be like, "Yeah, no, go on your way."
I need your word that you will not use it to impose, threaten, or challenge the ASINs.
She looks at you. She's like, "I have nothing against them. They are noble people."
You should. They're terrible. But you must promise.
She kind of like gives you a look like, this is very strange. It's like, certainly, you have my word.
My job here is done. And
I
then he like
thought-
walks off.
I thought you were going
Thank
to
you, Tungus.
for the other one.
We have 7 other nuclear weapons.
Okay.
As he walks away.
All right, so so the
He
customs,
walks off randomly as fuck.
the customs officer, as long as nobody else is like, actually, like the customs officers load this nuclear bomb into the back of their car.
Well, and I think the camera pans over to me sitting in the mess hall, and I've got like a bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses there, and I'm just tapping the desk, like waiting for something to show up as the nuclear devices leave.
That's where I walk to you and say, "Look, Captain, the dealings are done. We are allowed entry for the cost of 1 nuclear weapon."
I just kind of.
They initially asked for 2. I got them down to 1. He says, and then walks away from there too. Presumably to go stand in his room.
Yeah. All right. So mission accomplished.
Yeah.
You head to your room.
I think I pour the entire glass full. I'm just like, just take the entire thing.
All right. Cool. Well, let's cut to break there.
All right.
So we'll come back and we'll carry on with more Roleplay Live Swan Song when we return. Don't go
2
anywhere.
hours.